You mean we're not here for the Nintendo ASMR?
You have to not do that ever. You have to always never do that, please. What up, kids and squids? Welcome to the Nintendo Everything Podcast, episode 8. I am your host, Oni Dino, and with me I have the tallest shy guy in the Mushroom Kingdom, Galen.
Happy holidays and Merry Christmas.
Galen, why don't you remind people who you are?
Well, for those of you who have missed an episode, which I hope you haven't, my name is Galen. I am the new co-host of the Nintendo Everything Podcast. A little bit about me, I am just a pretty avid gamer, just like most of the people listening. I've actually have a long history. I've been playing NES since all the way, since I was a kid. I've actually taken game design and game theory classes in college. I've been in the gaming retail industry for over 6 years, so I've really seen it kind of grow and change, and I've even created content. I've had my hands in basically everything for gaming.
Very cool. I'm glad that you can bring little bits of variety to what we have to talk about here on Nintendo Everything Podcast. Now that all that crap is out of the way, you play like a bunch of video games across all different kinds of consoles too, right? You're not just a Nintendo guy.
Yeah, I'm Nintendo, I'm PlayStation, everything except for that Soulja Boy console, because that's just terrible. That is the worst.
Yeah, I heard about this like sort of in passing, but like I don't know. There were so many absurdities in like the title alone that I was just like, I don't care. Like, this is so dumb. This is the dumbest thing I've read.
Well, and for one thing, he calls it the Soulja console, and so just call it the Soulja Boy. Like, I mean, the marketing alone kind of sells itself. But if you look at these things that he has, it's like, it's a Game Boy wannabe, it's a Game Boy Micro wannabe, it's an Xbox that looks like it was ripped off of eBay for, like, completely gutted out. I mean, the thing is absolutely terrible, but what, like, really irks me about the whole thing is that he has the nerve to go ahead. The thing is basically a glorified emulation system. I mean, you can play games like Yoshi's Island and Link to the Past on a controller that looks like it was a PS2 controller.
Yeah, that's interesting, because emulation is not illegal. ROMs are illegal, though. So,
oh,
yeah, that's the thing there.
Yeah, no, it's completely crazy. I think the most interesting thing is that Nintendo actually sent him a cease and desist thing, and there's talks about like piracy lawsuits going in that he could actually get jail time from it. It's so bizarre. It's like, why is this even a thing?
Yeah, I personally don't give a damn. I just think that it's dumb. Stupid story.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
So things that aren't dumb is what you and I have been playing. Let's jump right into our adventure log.
Hereupon beat enemy good.
I have been playing OPUS, The Day We Found Earth. It is a tiny little indie game, and I was really surprised how much I liked it. I honestly just liked the art, and I was like, you know what, I'll get it, whatever. It is a little story-driven game with some puzzle-solving gameplay. It can comfortably be played through like one sitting in just like an hour and a half, I want to say, which I think the game actually benefits from. So I do highly recommend that you play it in one sitting. It's slightly emotional and pretty nicely written. If you like space and the unknown, and this game is probably for you.
I remember hearing a little bit about this game. It's really story-driven and kind of like isn't it like a survival management game? Like, what's the story of the game?
So I actually want to give away as little as possible because I think that this game benefits from that. It isn't survival like item management or anything like that. It's much more simplistic gameplay than that. It's pretty amazing how efficiently they were able to create an established world and reasons for what happens before the story and little things in your environment and dialogue. I was really happy with just this little tiny experience, and just playing it for like an hour and a half. It was like, I think $6-ish on the eShop, on the American eShop. It's on sale right now too, so
Gotcha. So it's really one of those games that like the storyline is one of the big reasons you want to play it.
yeah. It's not like some amazing story. It's just a very enjoyable little experience, and it's pretty to look at. There's finding constellations in the gameplay, which is very fun, and I'm surprised how much I really enjoyed it. There's little bits of history in there and little bits of emotional history within the universe that they kind of create among humankind. And yeah, that's all I really want to say about it. It was just great. And it's also coming out in retail. There's like another game in the series. I haven't played that game, but I did buy it just now because I was like, oh, I like this first game. So it's coming to retail as a double pack in early 2019. So that's good for people who do the retail thing.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. And how about you?
Well, I haven't gotten a whole lot of gaming in this weekend. However, I am, with the holidays that are coming up and spending a lot more time with the family, I've been spending a lot of time playing Super Mario Party.
Oh, that's perfect.
If you haven't gotten a chance to play this one, I highly recommend it. I really believe it is a return to form as far as how fun and exciting the Mario Party series is as a whole.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, because for a really long time, Mario parties were just like, ugh, another one, and they changed this, and I really don't like it, kind of thing.
Exactly. No, they went back to the classic board format, so you're not all stuck in the same car going in the same direction.
Yeah, and I'm not anti-car, okay? I'm not anti-car, but I think that giving both of those options for different play modes, I think that that's something they should have totally done.
Well, they've got a really cool one where it's a mode where you're all in a boat and you're kind of going all in the same direction, and it becomes this 4-player cooperative mode where you're trying to navigate down paths of a river. It's really fun, actually. It's also really interesting, too, because it makes choosing what character that you're being actually matter. Because every character, they brought this over from the 3DS series, every character that you go ahead and select has their normal dice, which is 1 through 6, but in addition to that, they also have their custom dice. So instead of 1 through 6, Mario would have, let's say, 1, 3, 3, 3, 5, and 6, or something like that. So it like changes the rolls that you can actually make.
Mm-mm-mm.
And as you're going around the board, you can actually collect other members who follow you around, and you can select their dice with it too. So it adds this whole new level to the game that I think makes it really interesting and even a little bit strategic for people who want to look at the game that way.
That's cool. That's fun.
Yeah. So another little game that I've been playing is a little indie game called Use Your Words. I've actually had my eye on this game for a little while. Came out last year, and it was actually designed by the YouTuber Brental Floss, who did a lot of the Games with Lyrics franchise. He was really big a couple of years ago. He still puts out stuff every now and again. What this game is it's kind of like a digital take on Apples to Apples or Cards Against Humanity. So on the screen, there's going to be a bunch of visual content. One of my favorite is old foreign films, such as like Japanese films, French films, Indian, and then they take out the subtitles to it. Everybody who's playing actually just plays on a smart device, like their phones, a tablet. Instead of playing the answers, you actually have to just enter it into your phone. And like in Cards Against Humanity or something, you go ahead and it shows all the answers and somebody picks what their favorite answer is. Except in this game, everybody goes ahead and votes on what their favorite answer is.
That's really interesting. It sounds like those Jackbox party games.
Yeah, the Jackbox game. Oh yeah, I've played them before. A very similar concept.
Okay.
What I really like about this, though, is because you're the one who's actually coming up with the answers, you really get to find out which of your friends and family members are incredibly demented.
Yeah, of course. I think it's probably the ones that you think it is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm not going to name names, but, somebody who I was playing with may have put in one too many dead dog jokes that kind of threw me back and had me on the floor laughing. It's always the quiet ones. It's always the ones you never expect.
So, in addition to Opus, I haven't played really much this past week, but I did buy GRIS, which is a new game that just came out. It is an indie game that has had a lot of really good press surrounding it. We did a really nice, succinct write-up on our site that one of our lovely reviewers, Philip, wrote. It's been very successful in just the 1 week that it launched. It's already turned a profit, which is really quite a good feat for an indie developer. And it's got this great watercolor aesthetic. I know very little about it, which is the way I like it. I like to keep things as simple as possible when it comes to exploring like a little story-driven game like this. So can't wait to play it.
Yeah, I'm really excited to hear what your opinions are, because I've heard nothing but good things about this game.
Yeah, both aesthetically and in story.
Here we go!
So I have not played any Smash this week, but I will be sure to play some next week. Guess who's been playing Smash though? Pretty much everybody in the world.
Yeah, seriously.
That's not actually true. But Smash has let's just jump right into the news. Smash has sold 5 million copies worldwide in just 3 days, according to, I think it was Nikkei that reported this. We also got different reports from various different outlets on sales ideas. We know that it sold 3 million in the States alone in 1 week, and Switch is now the fastest selling console of all time, I think, in Europe. Same in Australia, which is pretty cool, but also sometimes those kinds of reports can have like a little bit of spin in it, you know, to say it in the most positive light possible. So
yeah,
I take that with a bit of a grain of salt personally, but regardless, great news for Nintendo on the Switch. It also outsold Sony and Microsoft in November sales, but a good thing to mention is that November was a good month for all of gaming, for the gaming industry in general. All 3 consoles hit over 1 million sales in November, and strong software sales overall, which is awesome for the video game industry. This is the kind of news that I love to hear, because it just means that everybody's doing well, and I think that that's good for the industry. I don't want it to be like, oh, Microsoft sucks, I want them to fail, and then it just be Sony and Nintendo or whatever, something like that, you know, or replace that name with any other name. It's just, that's stupid, and it's not healthy for the industry.
No, I absolutely agree. And I think the beginning of the Video Game Awards this year really kind of showcases just that sense of community that, yeah, hey, you have these big 3 companies. Yeah, there's competition between the 3 of them, but it's almost gotten to a point to be friendly competition, because at the end of the day, it's us, the people who actually play these games, who are winning out in the end. Like, there's no better time to kind of be a gamer in general.
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff was BS, though. You know what I mean? Like, it was. That was total BS. It's from like a...
The world is not all doom and decay. There is light out there. You just have to look for it.
Listen, I've been on this earth for over 30 years now. I'm 30 or 40 years old, and I don't need this. Yeah, it was BS. Like, it was nice to hear positive words about unity and whatever, but I'm cynical when it comes to big businesses like that, including Nintendo, because it's just nonsense. They just want themselves to look as good as possible. And I mean, I'm glad and I do applaud that effort of all 3 of them appearing on stage together for an awkward moment like that, but whatever. Like,
yeah,
if I believe in that kind of sentiment coming out of anybody, it's like smaller developers, because they have less to gain from something like that, in my opinion.
I hear you. That being said, I, definitely will take anything to counter the cynicism in the world, so I always looked at it as a good thing.
That's true. That is my takeaway as well.
One thing I did want to ask you, going back to what you were saying earlier about the Switch being such a fastest-selling console out there right now, why do you think the Switch right now is selling so much better compared to everybody else?
I think that's probably a lot of factors. It is definitely it's in this weird spot, right, where it came out in the middle of a generation, I guess. Like, what generation of video game console is it actually in? You know, like, these generation lines are getting muddled.
Who can keep track anymore?
Yeah, so it's, I guess if you consider it in the current generation, along with the Wii U and the PS4 and the Xbox, it's the new console. A lot of people are talking about it. The simple but effective, for lack of a better word, gimmick here, of it being a home console and handheld is very understandable to consumers, very appealing to consumers, because it's very basic but like effective. And I think that's the exact kind of direction that Nintendo needs to go with a console. I don't know.
Yeah.
For reasons like that, in addition to, having good software and whatever, but I mean, the Wii U had good software, but it didn't sell, right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, and I feel that Nintendo has a lot of things that are going well for them, and I actually think what they have launching the console when they did, I think it was a stroke of genius, because you think about how the gaming industry has been going nowadays, and you have your initial launch of the console, and then 2 years later you come up with console plus one. So you have the PlayStation Pro, you have the Xbox One X, Q, R3, whatever they're on right now. People who have already like purchased the console and everything like that, yes, there is still competition out there, but here comes this brand new console that is a new library, it's new controls, it's a whole new experience. Nintendo has very little competition when it comes to trying to reach out to people who want to buy a new system.
Yeah, at this moment right now, I think so.
And then on top of that, you have the successive franchises like Super Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, Splatoon 2. I mean, each one of these first-party games that Nintendo has been pumping out have been absolute hits.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's just strengthening and making that appeal greater and greater and greater. And even people who have a PlayStation 4, they're kind of getting to that point of, well, you know, there's not a whole lot of AAA stuff out right now. There's not a whole lot of indie support on this. But here's the thing I can take around with me anywhere, which I also think is another really strong thing, because you're not only appealing to the home console market, you're also now appealing to all of the handheld market. And say what you will, I don't expect a whole lot of support for the 3DS. I really hope there is, because I love my 3DS. But I don't really see much of a reason to go down that path when they have such a strong contender out on the field right now.
Well, so, okay, there's two things about that. One is, when you said it's also competing in the mobile market, in terms of like mobile devices like phones, I don't think that's the case. I think that phones are sort of their own category.
Absolutely, I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
When I was referring to the mobile market, I was talking about the handheld
Dedicated
gaming
systems,
market. Yeah, I mean, everybody can download Candy Crush on their phones, but that's not the people who are going to be shelling out $200 to $400 for a unit like this. I mean, what competition has Nintendo had in the past? The PlayStation Vita?
That's true, but I mean, I think critics to that would say, is there a market with phones now being such a thing? And I would say yes, but I mean, that's what people counter that with, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I definitely think, though, that the people who are willing to go that extra mile to have a device that steps out of convenience, like, it's as portable as it is still a thing to bring around your Switch with you. It's something that you have to accommodate for.
Yeah. I mean, that's first world problems, but yes, totally. Yeah.
Regardless, it all cycles around to the fact of Nintendo's doing fantastic. All of the other companies are doing great as well. There's tons of great games out there. I just think it's a really awesome time to be a gamer.
Yeah, I agree too. I have a lot of games that I need to play on all of my consoles and not enough time. And I don't know. Bury me with my Nintendo. That's all I gotta say. So let's move on to the next piece of news. We got some announcements for Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon Everybody that came out recently. Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon is dungeon crawler, and it's turn-based and really, really excellent. I played the original version on Wii. It was so much fun. So anyway, the news is that there's a release date finally announced for Japan, and then the Western date is expected to follow not long after that, because they announced it originally as everything being in winter. Obviously, it's getting a little pushed back from winter, but it should be coming not long after that. They also announced a new job class, which is called Alpha, which is apparently a Chocobo from Final Fantasy XIV. So that's pretty cool. I have not played 14 at all, so I don't know anything about that, but cool, new job classes. Galen, did you ever play this game back on Wii?
I actually have quite a connection to this game. I did play it when it was on the Wii. I also played the original PlayStation versions, both Chocobo Dungeon 1 and 2. Fun story. When I went to Japan for my first trip, just randomly walking through the electronics district that they had there, went into a game shop and found an American copy of Chocobo Dungeon number 1. And it was like 10 yen. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen, because I did not expect to find an English game in the middle of a Japanese store. But no, I snatched that up as soon as I could.
That's weird.
So.
That's like reverse importing.
Right?
You brought it back to America where it was not originally produced. That's very strange.
It's so weird, but it's so great.
So you're excited for this this remake that they're doing on the Switch?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Like, tactical RPGs have always been my jam. I really like the new buddy system that they're having in on this one.
Me too.
And I knew very little about this game until just recently. And then one of my first questions was, when is the Western launch? When can I actually get my hands on this? Because, oh god, what's the phrase? Nihongo ga yomenai?
Yes, that's correct. You can't read Japanese. So I'm very excited about the buddy system as well. There's so many cute characters and so much personality in all of the characters in this world. So just bringing along another one of those characters with you is just pure bliss. I can't help but smile when I played the original on Wii with all of the different job classes that you could choose from with your Chocobo, and you have to dress him up in all of these little costumes based on his job, like a black mage or whatever. And I just love it. I love it so much.
It's just the costumes alone is like cuteness overload. It's so great.
Yeah. So in addition to this RPG talk here, we also have a little bit of news where Masashi Takahashi, he is the co-producer of Octopath Traveler and a member of Square Enix Asano team. He reiterated recently that he wants to do more Octopath games, more Bravely games, and a new series. This is something that he said before. Actually, I translated a big interview on our website before, so check that out if you like. I'll put a link in the description. And the biggest part of this news, though, that came up from Famitsu is he mentioned that several games are already moving forward with development, and he tells us to look forward to what's coming up in the future. So that's the real exciting part, is that stuff is happening. It's not just, I want to do these things. So we don't know what it is. He can't say yet, but I'm all for it because Octopath Traveler I loved to death. I also really love the Bravely series. I didn't play the second one yet, though. Got it, though. It's right there. I'm pointing at it right now. I'm looking at it. So I can't wait to play that.
Behind all the dust and everything.
No, it's not dusted. The dust is... No, shut up.
I know it's not dusted.
Anyway, Jackass, have you played any of these games? What do you think about them?
I'm honestly not much of a better situation as you, to be honest. Yeah, the Bravely games, I've wanted to play them, but I've never had the time to dedicate to an RPG of this caliber in recent time. I've had a lot of stuff going on, and I know that's a horrible excuse, especially because of the portability, but yeah, it's definitely on my backlog to-do list. Same thing with Octopath Traveler. I really have not had a whole lot of experience with either. I've played the demo back when that came out on Octopath. Game seems a little fun. I think it threw me off a little bit with the vernacular that they were using, with a lot of thee and doth, and
you chose Haunted as your beginning character, didn't you?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. She's the only one, and that village are the only people that speak like that. Yeah.
You gotta be kidding me.
No, really. And it's incorrect. What is that? Middle English? I don't know what that really is, but it's intentionally incorrect of that. It's supposed to, at least my understanding is that it's supposed to evoke that this is a village that descended from, oh god, it's been so long since I played the game, so now I can't really remember, but they descended from somebody very specifically or something like that. So that's why they uniquely speak like that, and it's just the way that their language evolved, and nobody else speaks like that in the game.
Oh, that is way too funny. Because
Yeah.
I'm sitting here going as ye dragon is over there, thy doesn't have time for
over to Varen
this.
or something like that, they would say.
I'm gonna go walk my dog. Okay.
Yeah. I have to walk in my dog in or something like that. They would say really weird and very intentionally screwed up things because nobody could have guessed that. And there's also some patterns to it as well. So that was definitely formulated in the writing. But I played it in Japanese, and they don't have that at all for her character, so that was just a linguistic localization decision, which, whether that was good or not is up to personal debate. I guess I don't mind it, but it's because it's only that character in that village, but Oh man, I didn't know that was your situation with it. I feel really bad for people who had that situation actually.
Well, I had a 1 in 8 chance for it to happen.
Yeah,
so.
you did. Yeah, I highly recommend that you go back to it and just give it another shot. Try out a different character that you think you might like.
Well, I still have the demo on my Switch, so yeah, I can definitely give that another shot.
And then if they do HD re-releases of the 2 Bravely games on Switch, you should pick those up. I know I will.
I would do that. I would definitely do that.
Yeah, those games are pretty.
That sounds like a good time.
They're so pretty and they're so much fun. Those are just games that deserve to be played by more people.
Mm-hmm. A bit about my like personal like gaming preferences. I was super into that classic turn-based RPG style back when I was in high school, middle school, and it's been quite some time since I've actually sat down to one of those. I think it might be time for a look back on something like that. So
yeah, it's really interesting actually, just because I've known you for so long, how your gaming habits have changed a lot, especially just like in comparison to me, where my gaming habits haven't changed too much, but yours have changed quite a bit.
I would be surprised if anytime you are not playing some sort of Super Nintendo game or anything like that. Let's be completely honest here.
At any given time.
At any given
time. So another game that is going to come out that we got some news on is Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes. There was it a stage announcement? I don't remember what we reported on last week. There was a big announcement that they were talking about, and they teased some big news, and a lot of people were like, oh, Smash, oh, it's the whatever outrageous thing. And we talked about it last week, and we were like, no, everybody chill yourself out, like have a seat, because you need to stop with the crazy mouth.
Let's come up with all of the theories and confirm none of them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, whatever. So what we said actually last week, not to like, be all up our own butts about this, but what we said last week was what it was. They detailed the season pass, and then the other big announcement that they had was that all of the original voice actors from the first 2 games are coming back, including the all-important Robin Atkin Downes, who is returning as the voice of Travis. So that's fantastic. And then going into the season pass, they mentioned that there's going to be a volume 1 and a volume 2, and they even gave us release dates on this, which is really cool and nice actually. So volume 1, volume 1 will be released on February 28th. It is titled Black Dandelion, and it'll introduce the playable character Shinobu Jacobs, who is super cool. She's from the first 2 games. She was an enemy in the first game, then she was an ally in the second game. She's a great character with a lot of great design and a lot of great character development too. So really glad that she's part of the DLC there. Then volume 2 of the DLC is going to be released on April 30th. It's titled Bubblegum Fatale, and it'll feature a new playable character, Bad Girl. It's going to also add a new stage and something called a killer marathon. So that's cool. Bad Girl, she was from the first game. She was an enemy in the first game, and you definitely killed her, like super definitively killed her. So I don't know how they're bringing her back or anything like that, but I'm excited because she was one of my favorite enemies in the first game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm still, okay, let me reverse this a little bit.
Okay.
So first off, I'm really liking what they're doing with how they are presenting all their information. I really like that they're just laying out their DLC, especially with like what you said, with the dates on it.
Yeah.
I really can appreciate that. Hey, the main game comes out at this time, and then you can expect these little chunks here and here. And aren't the DLCs like super cheap actually? They're like
so
$10 for the season pass or something like
correct. The season pass is $10, which is nice because usually season passes tend to be like 20-ish US dollars, but this one is only 10, which is cool. And there's no confirmation yet whether they can be purchased separately, but whatever, you're better off just spending $10.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, if you're going to get any of the DLC, I feel like at this point you should just go all in and just get everything that they're going to offer for DLC on that one.
Yeah, at a fair price like this, I would say the same.
Yeah. So, definitely kudos to them and definitely good work on them. As far as, like, the voice actor cast announcement, it's good that they did get the original characters. Personally, I was not excited by the announcement.
Oh, why?
And it's because... I don't know, they're all good actors that they have on here. Like, Robin Atkins down. He has some great parts that he's had before. I was looking up his stuff before. One of his biggest roles that really struck out to me was his role in Metal Gear Solid 5. And with something as narrative heavy as that, he played a huge role. And the acting on that was amazing, too. A little overdrawn, but still amazing. Little parts like he had voices in Gears of War 4. He played a character in Destiny 2. He definitely has a great pedigree and a very experienced voice actor.
So why aren't you excited then?
Because he has so much variety and so much experience. Like, I know
What
that
does that
sounds
mean?
really...
What are you talking about?
Okay.
I don't like
So-
this dish that you've created for me. It's too delicious.
Well, sometimes. No. Okay.
What?
It's hard to get excited about it because I'm not sure what to expect. Like, it could be a fantastic role, it can be an okay role. I'm not sure. I feel like the announcement of, hey, Robin Atkins Downs is going to be that. Okay, well, what is it that he brings specifically to the table?
What are you
that
talking
somebody
about?
else
The
couldn't
first two
amplify
games. I'm totally interrupting you right now. The first two games had Travis, and those games were super cheese fests, and Robert Atkin Downs was like chewing the scenery as Travis, and I loved that. And that's what we're probably going to get, except possibly in a bit more of a refined state in this game and future games. And I mean, I don't get your argument. I
guess I'm just arguing about the excitement of the cast in general. Like, I would have liked to hear more about gameplay elements. I would have liked to hear more about what other experiences am I getting to this. Yeah, cool. Yeah, they're getting the same actors. The one that they have for their new Badman character, it's Steve Blum. I mean, he's Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop. He was Killer Croc in Arkham Asylum. I mean, they definitely did a lot of work, and they got some great casting on here.
Yeah, Steve Blum is excellent. He's just Steve Blumin' all over the place.
Exactly. It's just, personally, it didn't excite me as more as I would have gotten excited if there was new information. That's all I'm saying, personally.
But there's tons of information already out. Like, they also announced information, and there's tons of gameplay. They showed new gameplay. Like, I don't get your argument, and I refuse to acknowledge your opinion.
All right. We'll debate about it in the comments. You can view those comments.
Oh my god, no! Shut up! You're awful.
All right, moving on.
You're awful. Moving on to something that isn't awful, like my co-host, is the announcement from the developers of a video game called Synaptic Drive. They've made a deal with a publisher, and they're moving into full production for a 2019 launch on the Switch. Synaptic Drive is a game by the Japanese studio 1000 Games, and it's being developed by, it is being directed by Koji Kenjo, who is the creator of Custom Robo back on the GameCube.
Yeah.
This game was announced back at the Tokyo Game Show a few months ago, and so the big part is about it being directed by the guy that created Custom Robo. That's the big selling point here. There was a brief gameplay proof of concept back when they announced the game, and it looks like new Custom Robo. So I'm excited because I played Custom Robo on the GameCube, and I was all about it. You just literally customize like every part of your robot and their weapons, and you just duke it out in a big arena. And God, whoever can't love that? You know what I mean? Unless you hate mechs, that is just so much fun. So I'm gonna keep an eye on this.
Even if you don't like mechs, I mean, just from a standpoint of how the gameplay works, I have been a huge Custom Robo fan since it was on the GameCube.
Oh, cool.
Just saying, still think Roy Mark II would make a great Smash Bros. Fighter. Just gonna say that.
Oh, you know what? When you mentioned this, like, I feel like back during like Melee or something like that, there was it
he had a
Melee?
trophy. He had a trophy you can get, and I'm just sitting here going, I want that character.
Yeah. I remember there was some Smash connection.
Yeah. And I actually, after I heard about this, you can find the prototype trailer, or the beta trailer, whatever you want to call it, on YouTube. The game looks like an updated version of Custom Robo. Like, even if this is just proof of concept, I'm totally cool with that, because I want another Custom Robo.
Yeah.
Call it whatever you want. If it has the same mechanics, if it has the same gameplay style, I'm down. Like, I'm really excited. This is definitely something that's going to be on my radar coming up for quite some time.
Yeah, whenever some news comes out about it, we'll be sure to talk about it on the show since both Galen and I are big fans. So next week, we're definitely going to be talking about our year in review. We'll be talking about games that we played this past year and highlights, maybe even some lowlights.
Those lowlights are going to be fun to talk about. I feel like we're going to have a couple of debates and arguments about those.
Nothing comes to mind. Nothing. I'm sure it's going to be the most peaceful discussion we've ever had.
Oh, absolutely.
So, at the end of this news here, I want to introduce a new segment, sort of a mini segment. This past week, one of my favorite internet content creator groups disbanded, the Super Best Friends. I was being very reflective on that because they've been around for like 9 years, and I realized that one of my favorite things about them was all of the varied and unexpected media that they introduced me to, and I'm very thankful for that. I think that it influenced me in a very positive way, and I feel much more knowledgeable thanks to them. So with that in mind, I want to spread some positivity and some diversity in media with a little segment here right after the news that I'm going to call Additional DLC. So each week, Galen and I will have one recommendation for you. It is any form of media, whether it's a film, song, artist, YouTube video, even a game. It's literally any type of media. And if you'd like, you can check it out and see if it's for you. We'll be brief. Links will always be in our description so you can check it out. So, this week on the inaugural week of additional DLC, my recommendation is a mini album of sorts by Japanese musician Akeboshi. The album is called 15.7447113 years. That's a whole mouthful of a title. I'm just going to call it years. Yeah. Akeboshi his genre is hard to pin down. He does folk, Irish, electronica, experimental music. He's all over the place. This particular release is a beautiful, ambient, and emotional collection of music. It is completely instrumental. It's really well produced, and it's not overdone like a lot of ambient music can be. When I listen to it, it makes me feel very calm and introspective. It's only 3 movements, and it's like 17 minutes long, which is like a perfect length for me personally. Just listen to it in the morning or during yoga or something like that. And each track builds off of the one that came before it, so I highly recommend, if you listen to it back to front each time. It's great to turn on while you're working, studying, relaxing, going to bed, and the cover art is very special too. So that's a mini album by Akeboshi. Links will be in the description. You can stream it for free. That's what I got for this week. How about you, Galen?
Well, mine's going to be a little bit more mainstream. Over the weekend, my birthday weekend, actually, I went to go see... thank you. I went to go see the new Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. A lot of people have been kind of thrown off by this movie, especially with the Spider-Man Homecoming that they released last year. This one's completely CG animated, follows the story of the new Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and I was completely blown away. Like, I kind of went in with very minimum expectations. Like, it was, direct from Sony. They haven't had the best of records, especially with some of the more recent Spider-Man ones. I cannot describe just how stylized this movie was. Like, there was not a single moment that I was bored throughout the entire movie. That also extrapolates to the story and how the characters were written. Like, this movie completely blew me away as far as expectations versus what I actually got. If you were on the fence to go see it, definitely go see it. Talk to some people who actually have seen it, because the thing is amazing. I highly recommend it.
So, that's it for your additional DLC. Let's move on to Listener Mail.
Listener Mail, go!
Hadouken!
So, we got an email here from Jeff. If you want to write us an email, you can write us an email. That email is nintendoeverythingpod@gmail.com. Galen, what's that email?
nintendoeverythingpod@gmail.com.
And if you wrote us an email, your email might sound a little something like Jeff's. Jeff writes, "Dear two fools who talk about Nintendo." That's a throwback, Jeff.
Yep.
I heard this question asked on a different show, and I liked it, so I stole it. You're hosting Christmas dinner, and you get to invite 3 guests from video games. Who do you choose and why? Love the show and love the banter. Thank you, Jeff. Is a good question.
Thank you. Excellent question. Thank you very much for writing in. On to your question. So I actually really liked this one. You mind if I take this one first?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, if I was to invite 3 guests, I think I would invite Isabelle from Animal Crossing.
Oh, she would be such a terrible guest. Are you kidding me?
No, she would be... My reason is that she would always want to help out, especially with the cleaning after the dinner.
She'd be bossy.
That's an important thing.
It's her way or the highway for sure.
You say that like it's a bad thing. If she wants to help washing the dishes, you know what? Fine, let her do it.
You're one of those people that likes to be bossed around, though.
Second person, Cooking Mama.
You know, I thought about Cooking Mama as well, but I think that she would ultimately be a bad guest.
You really?
Yeah.
Why that?
Kind of a
Why
similar
bad guest?
reason of Isabelle, where it's like her way or the highway. Or I also think that, like, just looking at her dead eyes, she probably doesn't have much of a personality going on there. You know?
Well, and that's why you have the third person as Phoenix Wright.
Why do you think that he would be a good guest?
Because he is always bringing up good points and moving the conversation along. It's just one of the things that he does. And if somebody tries to bring up something like a very no topic, like, oh, the political climate, objection. No.
Okay.
He shuts that stuff down.
That's actually pretty good, because you don't want the inevitable political discussion to happen at Christmas dinner.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So you have somebody help with the cleaning, you have somebody help with cooking, or at least bringing a dish on their own, and then you've got Phoenix Wright as a buffer. Boom. Done.
Yeah, okay. I super don't agree with your answers, but solid reasoning there. So we got this question a little bit earlier, so I've been thinking about it, and I'm a bit of a chaotic person, so I enjoy it. I think that I would invite Niles from Fire Emblem Fates.
Ooh.
I would invite him for the conversation and all of his inappropriate comments and sexual innuendo that he would bring to the table. Plus, he's pretty attractive.
I can definitely see that, but you do have to sit next to him for at least 4 to 7 minutes just to get anything out of him at first. And then good conversation, then about 12 to 15 minutes later, then you can start talking again.
What do you mean?
Have you never played a Fire Emblem game?
Oh, I see. That was a roundabout insult. Anyway, my number 2 would be Chun-Li from Street Fighter 2. I think that she would have really good conversation and a lot to talk about. She's a very smart lady. She works for Interpol, so she would have a lot of good stories. Plus, she's pretty good looking, and I think that Niles would have a field day with that.
Absolutely. And, I definitely would love to see that conversation happen. And I'm just imagining her going on and on about how she wants to be a regular schoolgirl as soon as the conversation's done.
No, that's old canon. That's not new Chun-Li at all. I did say from Street Fighter 2 though. Ugh, no.
Gotcha.
No, I'm erasing it. I'm erasing it from my head canon. Anyway, then the third one I would invite, and trying to keep it a little topical here, is Richter Belmont from Rondo of Blood.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'd invite him because, I enjoy the darkness. I got a little bit of the darkness inside me, so I very much enjoy those kinds of topics. So I'd like to talk to him about that, ask him about that. Plus, he's pretty easy on the eyes, if you remember from last week's episode. Niles would have a field day with that, too. And plus, I just like to surround myself with attractive people. So Niles, Chun-Li, and Richter Belmont. That's what I'm going with.
I love how all of your options are all about good conversation and just definite overall attractiveness, whereas all of my choices are, hey guys, just help me with this, okay?
Yeah.
just come on.
So it shows that you treat people as objects to use, and that I am a better person than you.
And you treat people as object to view.
Oh, that was a nice rhyme. What a nice way to end that.
What a nice thing.
Shake, shake.
So, thank you very much, Jeff, for that email. We liked it a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, send more emails like that. Actually, if you're trying to come up with something to email us. One thing that I throw out to the community is let us know what games you're going to be playing over winter break, the holiday season. Again, with my adventure log earlier, I was talking a lot about, the games I'm playing are games that I'm playing with family.
Are we reverse questioning? Are we doing a M. Night Shyamalan twist on this and we're asking the audience a question?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
That's a pretty good question, actually, though.
Oh, well, yeah, thanks.
Parasite Eve, I think, is a great holiday game. It's a great Christmas game.
It is a Christmas game.
1990. Spaghetti.
So what's coming up on the website? We have the ever-elusive Phantasy Star mega interview. Once again, I told you some things got thrown into the machine that is my brain. So unfortunately, it slowed down things. I wanted it to be out this week, but we're so close. I'm proofing it right now. It's coming up soon. Please understand. And then next week's show, we're going to be doing a year in review kind of thing. Since it's probably going to be a slow news week, we're not stopping for New Year's. We're going to have a show next week. And I'm sure that Galen and I are going to have some very civilized conversation and sarcasm.
They will be the most polite conversation. There will be very minimum sarcasm. And both of us will walk out of this with our friendship still intact. I can promise some of those things.
I hate you. So you can check our website out, nintendoeverything.com. You can check us out on YouTube. That's youtube.com/nineverything. We also have a Twitter. That's @nineverything. And you can find me tweeting and creeping over on Twitter @Oni_Dino.
I don't have as much content coming out lately, but if you want to follow me and the adventures of my cat and dog, you can definitely follow me at Mobius087 at Twitter.
Wow, great sale. You don't even know what it is.
Yeah, it's that's how it works. It's at Twitter.something.
Don't follow him. I'm going to check his followers and make sure that nobody follows him this entire week.
I think I'm down to 2 followers, my mom and my dog, and now just 1 follower. Okay, great.
This is the most depressing end. This is the worst end.
That's why I have to look for any optimism I can get my hands on.
Okay, go rewatch the opening of the VGAs. Anyway, be sure to rate us on iTunes and click likes and all that junk. With a new show, the hardest thing is for us to get exposure, so we really do appreciate your cooperation on getting the word out there for our podcast if you enjoy us. Thank you very much for that.
Hi!
And for everything Nintendo,
Stay tuned to Nintendo Everything.
bye-bye.
Later.